So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be reviewing this 1956 86-inch Land Rover Series 1, and I'm going to tell you if you should buy one. Designed by Maurice Wilkes, chief engineer of Land Rover Company, the Land Rover was inspired by the American Willys Jeep, which Maurice had been using on his farm. The goal was to create a vehicle that could work on the farm during the week and be driven into town on the weekends. This particular model from 1956 has a 2-litre petrol engine under the bonnet, producing around 52 horsepower. Not much by today's standards, but back then it was more than enough to tackle the toughest terrain. And let's not forget, this car weighs in at just over a tonne, meaning it doesn't need a huge amount of power to get the job done. So the interior of the Land Rover, as you can see, is as basic as it can be. You've got speed and you've got revs. This is the indicator, Bakelite switch. That's literally as it is. You've got high and low range gearbox, your main gearbox, steering wheel and a horn. That is all you get. These seats, there's storage underneath, and you've also got the fuel tank here, which is one of the funniest things to do when filling up a car, is to open the door and start filling underneath the seat. People look at you as if you're mad. So the way to do that, you simply take off the seat, put that here, and then simply just lift this up like so. Take off the lid and voila, start filling up your Land Rover. I mean, what other car has that feature? It's just insane. So from the back of the car, you've got this lovely simple load space with the rubber mat. Obviously not original, that's newer, but it just makes it a bit more harder wearing. Here, if we undo these clasps, like so, this car's got a drop down tailgate. So what that does is it gives you a seating area, a bench to store things, and that's super useful. You've also got lights here. These aren't original, but they're a lot brighter than the originals, which are pretty good. If you come down to the side, it's as basic as it can be. You've literally got the fuel tank there, the exhaust, the wheels, the doors. This is crazy. I mean, what other car can you do that and just walk away with a door? I mean, I've got a door, it's mental. So now let's take a look under the bonnet and see this 52 horsepower monster. So if we lift this up here, you can see the Rover P60 upgraded head on this Land Rover, which was a very common upgrade back in the day, purely because it just gave you an extra bit of horsepower and slightly improved fuel economy. You've got the very simple radiator, exhaust manifold, carburetor, air filter. Cars don't get any more simple than this, and in my opinion, I think that's how it should be really. It's just you, the car and the road, which, let's be honest, all cars nowadays are nowhere near as simple as this. One minor thing, it's got to go into the garage. This, you can literally fix it with a ratchet set and probably a screwdriver. So from the front of the vehicle, this being the 86 model, the lights actually come through this piece of metal, whereas the original one, the lights behind the grille, the 80, the lights sat behind. This was a modification because the lights coming through obviously gave better visibility and light. This particular model has also been fitted with indicators which weren't standard, but with modern day traffic, it's a pretty useful thing to have. Enables people to obviously see where you're going. And then as evolution happened with the Land Rovers moving to the 2A, lights were still in the middle, but then later ones, Series 3, etc., headlights moved to the side and then through to the Defender, which is what you see today. So we've just turned the engine back on to show you the real speed of the windscreen wipers. I mean, look at those go. That's going to really repel the rain. So now you know a bit more about the Land Rover. Let's see how it drives. So, what is it like to drive this classic Land Rover Series 1? Well, the only way to describe it, it's like a plucky little mountain goat. It's light on its feet, it's nimble, and it's got so much character. You feel every single bump in the road, as I'm sure it's coming across on camera. You're constantly having to watch what you're doing. Every single input from the steering wheel directly impacts the car on the road massively. You can't switch off in this car because you'll end up killing yourself. The exhaust out the back is really nice sort of raspy tone to it. And once you get the car moving, it's actually quite quick. So we've got a 4-speed gearbox, and we've got high and low range down there. And to drive, once you've got it out at first, it's fine. You've just got to get used to it. It's not like driving any other car. You've got to remember it's an old lady. You've got to treat her with respect. But as long as you look after her, she'll look after you. From the driving seat, you're sat really high up and you're well above the bonnet. Your knees are almost where your ears are, but you do have a really good driving position. It's not the comfiest. You wouldn't want to do it for more than an hour, but I quite like it. So performance-wise, from this plucky little 2-litre engine, you can get this old lady easily up to 50 miles an hour. I'm not saying you want to do that because you probably shake yourself to death, but you can do it. It's far better around about 40 miles an hour on country lanes with no traffic, the wind in your hair, just enjoying having a classic Land Rover, because that's what it's all about. What I love about this car is every single person loves it. It automatically puts a smile on their face. You can go off-roading, you can take it to the shops, and every single person that sees it will go, I had one of those, my granddad had one of those. It's just a car of the people. Prices of these Land Rovers Series 1s can be anywhere from 10 all the way up to £50,000. Now £50,000 if you get Jaguar Land Rover, the Jaguar Land Rover, to build you one from scratch. And that's something you can pay very good money for. A car like this is probably worth around about £15,000 to £20,000. Prices have dropped a little bit in recent time, but I think on the whole, your money's pretty safe in this Land Rover Series 1. This is the first ever Land Rover ever made, and it's such an iconic brand. And people, in my opinion, will always have a soft spot for one of these in their collection. So we're going to pull over now and show you the party piece of the Land Rover Series 1. So with these two very tools and the power of editing, we take these, undo these bolts, 3, 2, 1. So there you have it. With these two tools, you can completely flip your windscreen and take it from upright to in the jungle. Now let's see what it drives like with the screen down. So we're now doing 40 miles an hour, and I feel like Jeremy Clarkson in the area after. I think let's put the windscreen back up. So that's enough skydiving for probably ever, but it's very fun. Let's pull over somewhere and I'll tell you if you should buy one of these Land Rovers. So the sun is setting behind me, and how cool is this car? I mean, I've absolutely fallen in love with it. I love everything about it. It is the perfect pub car, classic car, for you to use with your friends, put the dogs in the back. It's going to go up in value. I have no doubt that these Land Rovers will surge back up in price like they did before. They're just awesome. So to answer the question of this video, should you buy a classic Land Rover Series 1? The answer undoubtedly is yes. They are awesome and you will not regret it. So there you have it. That's the review of this Land Rover Series 1. I've absolutely loved making this video. If you've loved it, like, subscribe and stay tuned for future episodes because I've got so much more car content coming for you and I can't wait for you to see it. Cheers guys.